Tansi, hello, bonjour, and welcome to Hoop Dance with yours truly, Dallas Arcand, three-time world champion hoop dancer, broadcasting to you live from the beautiful, unceded territory of the Okanagan Nation, also known as the Seal people. So I proudly acknowledge that the land that I'm here standing on today is the territory of the Okanagan, the Seal people. This place is more than just a place. It's a culture, it's a people, and it's a language. And my daughter is half Okanagan, so that's why I'm here broadcasting in my second home with my daughter's homestead. And yeah, it's a great honor for me to share with you today some hoop dance lessons. So today would be, or this lesson would be hoop dance lesson number 8, where we're talking about the 8th hoop, or specifically referring to the book would be chapter 8, in alignment with the moon cycle, the 8th moon, and how I relate the hoop dancing to the 13 moons. And that's kind of what my dance and the book and everything is all named about, and it's all copacetic in that way. I'm not some type of moon expert, so don't be asking me for your astrology sign to give you insight into that, because I'm not that kind of moon expert. It's more or less paying homage and respect to my culture and my ancestors and the things that I've learned over the years. And I'm still very much a student myself, even though I've been doing this for 30 years. I've mastered the hoop dance, and now I'm working on other parts of the hoop dance, because there's all these different types of elements that make up the hoop dance, the culture, everything like that. There's the physical part of things, where we learn the physical movements and the physical motions of things in life. But then there's also the mental things that we have to learn, which are part of the 4 elements of the medicine wheel. So there's that like I said before, the physical, and then there's the mental, and then there's that emotional side, that emotional intelligence that you have to tune into, where you know about your feelings, where you kind of can feel those vibes, all around you. You can feel the earth vibes, you can feel the vibes from the animal, you can feel when you're in the presence of danger, you can feel that you're entering in a dangerous situation. So it's tuning into that emotional intelligence, using your feelers outside of that. And then last but not least, the spiritual part. And that's kind of the 4 parts that we have to learn. It could take a lifetime to learn those things. Like I said, I've been doing this for 30 years. I obviously have focused a lot on the physical, the mental, and all in all, I've been part of the entire circle and learning and sharing these talents and this gift and this skill that I have, that has been graced upon me by Kisimanatu, the creator. This is the gift that I've been given, and I'm grateful to have, that I'm here to share with you today. So anyways, we'll get right into it. So chapter 8 in my book is basically talking about becoming yourself, becoming your own best self, becoming your own best friend, your own best person, and investing in yourself always. Everything from love to self-care to forgiveness, and also to know your worth and your value, and just how you contribute to the world with your gifts and your talents. So anyways, that's kind of what my focus is on that, and in this lesson. And now, without further ado, I want to get into the hoop stuff. So, as I spoke earlier in hoop lesson number 6, about how Leroy Bull showed me a move back in the day that I basically kind of extended into my own style of hoop dancing and interpreting hoop dancing. So again, that move that Leroy showed me, it's basically kind of a whirlwind formation. Those X's and those crosses, they represent for how a whirlwind looks. So like if you draw it on paper, there's all these lines, right, that intertwine, it spirals. And it can represent for a variety of different things in the world, but I'm just simply calling it a whirlwind for now, okay? So I'm gonna do the original way that Leroy showed me. So thank you, Leroy. Leroy from Muscatine area there. I think he's from Louisville or Montana. There's 4 bands. So, so for those of you that are familiar with Musquecheese is the Cree name for Bear Hills, but it also used to be called Hobima. Now everybody thinks it's one big res, right? Like one big res. Musquecheese is not a reserve. It's actually a hamlet surrounded by 4 reserves. So the 4 reserves are Ermineskin, Samson, Louisbourg, and Montana. 4 reserves, all like in a big square, and then in the center of that, that's Musquecheese. So our people, our ancestors called it Bear Hills, and there's a little bit of a philosophy to that in relation to the earth, to the grass, to the rolling hills. And I don't know much about that. I've only heard the story a few times from Kenny Roan, one of our elders in our territory, and Bernie McCocus. And I'm yet to discover that part in which I personally am missing from the language, because I didn't, even though I grew up around language, I wasn't really taught it, because I know I'm sidetracking here from the hoop dancing, but part of the reason why my generation and generations before us didn't learn the language is because in residential schools, the language was stripped from my grandparents. They were taught to not speak their language. They were taught not to teach their language to the young people, which would be my parents and grandparents. And then that's why our generation suffers because of that, because the lack of language. Now, I use a lot of Cree language. I do know a lot of Cree, but I can't break down the words like some of our elders. That's why I say somewhere in my book, I say, like, when we lose an elder, it's like losing a library of information, because they have a lot of information that they've accumulated culturally and that has been instilled and ingrained in their DNA. So hopefully that knowledge will manifest itself out through our young people, which I see a lot happening these days, especially in when I go and travel and see all these beautiful, gifted young people in our communities, and also on social media as well. So anyways, I just thought I'd share that little bit of information for you. So let's get back into hoop dancing and stop procrastinating and get into the next lesson. So here we go. I'm crossing these hoops over one by one, going all the way up to 8, and so I'm just stacking them. So that's how I was originally shown, like that, to make the hoops all like that. So that's how we make this formation. This was the original the original move that I learned from Leroy, but I do my own 6 hoop version of it. And then as well, I've extended my own version of this 8 hoop move that I believe that Leroy and his family, they kind of still do this version, but they don't do the other version, in which I never did get to share with him, but he never did ask. You know, if he would have asked me, I would have gladly shared it with him. So anyways, just like 6 hoops, you're gonna weave your fingers in hoops. So here we're dealing with 4 hoops, 1, 2, 3, 4 on each side. So we're gonna go in between hoop 1 and 2, and then weave your thumb and grab hoop number 3. And then that's all we do is grab those, and then we're gonna pop these guys out like this. If they'll pop out. Okay, that one was a little stuck. So now I gotta reconfigure that. Okay, so now I got it. So pop these guys out, and bada bing, bada boom. This one's a little trickier because you have to extend higher, but still the same effect. You got that whirlwind formation, like that. So we're doing the whirlwind formation. And again, we have all these X's crossing all the way up and down, from the bottom all the way to the top. And then we have that formation. And then what I do here is I spread this formation just like a tornado, like a whirlwind is, right? And I spin it. And then from here, this is where it gets tricky, because this is where I add my own twist and my own spin to it. And that's where I take this formation and break it down, just like I did in 6 hoops. But the only difference is here is that instead of doing what I did with 6 hoops, I'm now just gonna take these hoops like this and hold them to the side. And then I'm gonna take 1 hoop, push it down. I'm gonna put these hoops on my legs, like that. And then I'm gonna let these hoops fall and fall. And then I'm gonna let the center hoop fall down. And then from here, this is where I pop into the next formation, which nobody really told me what this formation is, but for me, it represents for the caterpillar because it's long and lanky like a caterpillar. And then there you go, there's how the formation looks. So we do this, and then all of a sudden there's going to be a metamorphosis that happens within this routine here. So I'm going to again transition into another whirlwind, and that's where I'm going to separate these hoops. And notice how I separate the hoops like so. This is how I make the hoops separate. So again, I was like this. Now all I got to do is grab this hoop, and then I basically step through this one, release this one, and it's all going to make sense once I release everything. So now the next part is step out of this hoop, take this hoop right here, step in, drop the hoop. Now the last part we're going to do here is we're going to fold this over, and this one takes momentum because this also is a whirlwind formation as well. So again, there's that tornado formation when you spin fast enough. So it's really key to spin fast in this move. And this is where I'm going to make the metamorphosis happen, and that's where I'm taking the caterpillar, and the transitional move is the whirlwind, because it takes time for these things to happen. It takes time for the caterpillar to grow, for the caterpillar to go into cocoon, and for the wind to blow, the weather to be right, the season to be right, for that metamorphosis to happen where it all of a sudden changes into a butterfly. So that's the next formation in this routine. So I'm going to flip up these hoops and interlock them like I did before. Sorry, I got a little bug in my eye. I think I stirred up some bugs, and there's a bug right in my eye. All right. The insects are sensing me. They're trying to connect with me here, eh? Anyways, I'm gonna flip this up like that, and that's where I get into this next formation. So this is important. Flip these up and lock them in place like that. So this is really important. I'm gonna flip this over, and then last but not least, pop this one out. And then instead of taking it out, all I do is pull this through the hoop like so. Pull this through. Now we have a butterfly formation. So there's the butterfly formation, and what makes it that is the actual flapping of the wings like so. And this is a common move that we use in hoop dancing with the butterfly. So now those wings are moving. And then what's cool about this is this is where you separate the average person from, you know, the things that you actually have to sacrifice as an artist. You know, being an artist, we do what it takes to make our art possible. So some people will look at, I remember teaching some students back in the day, in my early days. So I'm going to take this apart now. So all I'm going to do is grab this, and I'm just going to take this apart and slowly show you guys what the next move is. So part of my speech here is I've taught students in the past, and they refuse to put the hoop in their mouth because of sanitary reasons, right? They don't want to put a hoop that's been on the floor in their mouth. And if you think about it, it's kind of gross, but that's what I mean about the sacrifice we make as artists. You know, there's a lot of different artists in the world that go through a tremendous amount of trouble to create their works, to create their artwork, to create their music, their songs. You know, like there's many stories out there that have ended up in tragedy, like Nirvana, for example. Kurt Cobain, you know, he really put a great deal of his talent out there in the world, but also he had a lot of a lot of things that troubled him, and you know, he kind of went through a lot in life. So I just wanted to share that with you, that when I place this hoop in my mouth, it's, I don't really care if it's sanitary. I'm not licking the hoop or anything like that, but that's part of the commitment of being an artist, of being a dancer, is that who cares if the hoop was on the floor? I'm not eating it, you know, and even if so, people do eat food off the floor. You know, they say 5-second rule or 10-second rule. You know, you drop a piece of your food. So what's the difference, right? So, anyways, I'm just making a point that, you know, I am putting this hoop in my mouth. As far as I know, I didn't rub my hoop on dirty surfaces. I had it here on the ground in the grass, and my hoops, they're my hoops, and that's what I do. So anyways, the next part is you put this hoop in the mouth, and you have the eagle formation like this. And then we get into one last groove, and that's where you slip these in, like that. Just like we did with 7. So 7, join together. Then we have this 8th hoop here. As they come together, this hoop goes in like so. And this hoop, now we have a basket that we've put together. And this is how I do the 8 hoop basket. And now to get this out, I simply just release one arm and then take it out. And there I have an 8 hoop basket, because if you look at it, it has the shape of a basket, the structure of a basket. So there you go, there's your 8 hoop lesson. And in the past, I've stacked these up. Some people have made this into like a nest, and where you, if you spread it out enough without breaking it, that's the key too, is not breaking it. You could actually put another hoop world inside of it. Oh, I've broken it already. I've broken the friction that keeps it together. So there, I was just trying to widen it. But if you let it drop like that, it kind of creates a nest in a way. And then if you had another world in it, you can make it look like a nest. And then here's the egg inside of the nest right there. And so that's another form of visual storytelling and an appreciation for that particular thing. So there you go, there's the 8 hoops and how it works and the different scenarios that make it happen. And that's part of this lesson here. So again, I'm going to pick up these hoops here. They're just on the ground, you know, put them in their mouth. All I'm doing is bite them. And I'm the type that I don't get acne or mouth sores from any of this. And I just want to let you know that some people might get grossed out that, oh, you're putting a hoop in your mouth and you know, it's all gross, but it's the sacrifice you make. Like, who cares? Like, this is part of the dance, right? It's part of what you got to do for the dance. Like, some people blow out their knees from dancing. Some people will injure themselves from dancing, or, you know, there's all kinds of different scenarios. You know, to be a dancer, it takes a lot of sacrifice in your own life, a lot of training, a lot of commitment, and you got to commit yourself the whole way through in order to make that possible. So I'm going to show you one quick bonus move here. So I'll do a sort of a recall from a previous lesson. So we're going to do this, and I'm going to, remember from the hoop lesson number 4, you go like this, and then you separate the hoops. So this is from hoop number 4, lesson number 4. You separate the hoops with your pinky and pointer finger like that. And then all you're going to do right here is you're going to make the hoops like a flower and then drop them into a world formation. So you have one world, one globe, and then here's from the previous lesson with 7 hoops. So all I'm doing is this with 4 hoops now. You could do this with any denomination to make this formation of the globe or the world, to bring them together. And then now all of a sudden you have 2 worlds. Hey, you're balancing the sun and the moon together, the earth. the sun, the moon. So there you go. There's lesson number 8, hoop number 8, if you will. And I hope that this information is valuable for you and it resonates into the next generation. And I hope that what I share here is valuable to you in whatever way, shape, or form. So again, my name is Arcand, 3-time world champion. Thank you for tuning in, and please refer to my book and my website for further information. Until next time, hi, kananaskumten. Thank you, and peace out.